channel. Welcome to Eccentric. Okay, so this is the February 2022 energy update that is 100% channeled. It is not going to be based off of any sciences, metaphysics, anything like that, okay? I did not do notes this time. I didn't do anything. I'm just doing this energy update, okay? And there's a reason for this. Now, February is it's a month of change, you guys. And we are already in a cycle of changes, but there's going to be a very profound pivot that happens in February. Today is February 2nd, I believe. So somewhere close to the 12th of February, you're going to feel a very strong change in the energies. Even though we have all of these other energies going on and there's all of this movement, within all of that movement, you're going to become very aware of a big shift. Okay, you're going to feel it. You're going to know it. You're going to become aware of it. And it's not something that's going to be easy to ignore. It's going to be like if you know, how there could be maybe a smell or something that bothers you and you can't find it and you're desperately searching for it because it's irritating you. The energy is going to be kind of like that because you're going to feel it so profoundly that you're going to wonder and want to do what, you know, what we usually do, and we want to dissect it and understand it and all this and that stuff. Totally a natural thing, but I don't suggest that you get into it. I suggest that you feel into it and you allow the energy to kind of flow through you and see what it does. Okay? It's going to be different for everybody, but this energy coming in somewhere, give or take, on the 12th or a few days before, depends on how sensitive you are. Um, it's definitely going to be a very real experience for some people. Okay. Now, in general, for the month of February, it's going to be like a change of the guard, or like when they go like the emergency room, how they change shifts. Like it's going to be like a shift change for February. And you know how chaotic a shift change can be. A change in power, a change in, like, one person leaving, someone can take over. However you want to see it. You can see it a few different ways. You can see it like someone taking over for somebody else. You can see it like somebody relieving someone of their duties. These are the themes that I'm getting. There's this sense of relief, but then there's a sense of take over. So I think that what Spirit wants you to do is choose how you want to see this. You're either going to want to see this as relief, or you're going to see it as a takeover. And you know which one fits the role that you're playing right now, okay? I'm not here to tell you how to feel or what to do, but those are the energies that are presenting themselves in the now, okay? So, in the midst of this takeover or release energy, there are going to be times where people have to figure out, okay, well, what am I doing? What am I choosing to be responsible for? What am I choosing to take leadership of, ownership of? Like, there's going to be this situation where one day you were moseying along life and you were just, you thought you had it all figured out, and then these events happen, and now all of a sudden you're deciding either for yourself what you're supposed to be doing or you're deciding for other people, having to delegate positions to other people in order to work in a group. There's a lot of delegation going on. There's a lot of memos coming down. Okay. And this is not just in one particular area of life. So, y'all expand your minds. Okay. Because it could be at your job, it could be at home, it could be in government. These things are going to be happening, but on a large collective scale, where all of a sudden there's responsibility where there wasn't responsibility. There's leaders where they weren't being leaders before. Now there's leaders stepping up. Okay? And when you think about somebody being relieved from their duty, think in terms of sometimes people want to be relieved of their duty. Sometimes it's not a situation where someone is just taking over and you didn't want it, right? Hey, Nathan. So, um, you don't always have to see things in a friction way, right? So make your choice on how you want to see this, because you can be highly inconvenienced and stressed out and feeling hopeless and all that other stuff, or you could feel relief and you could feel like finally there's space for me to be who I need to be, step into my power and do the things that I have been wanting to do. It's all about how you're going to be looking at this, because there is power being handed over to the people who have not had it. And there's you don't just ask for power and then sit there and not do anything with it. It's not a trophy. You don't just set it somewhere. You got to use it. You got to do something with it. So if you find yourself in situations, love, where all of a sudden things are happening and nobody's doing anything about it, it's most likely because you're the leader in that situation, and the energy is with you and you're supposed to be expressing it. So once you've observed enough and you realize that everybody's freaking out and nobody's doing anything, it's because they are expecting someone else, obviously not them, to stand up and do something. Okay? Because there's a change of the guard. Now, this February is a time where everybody is really gonna, if you didn't know your role, if you didn't know what part you were playing in the grand scheme of things, you're gonna start to get hints. You're really gonna start to gather, they say gather a groove. You're gonna gather a groove, okay? Really get your feet planted into something, okay? And Spirit says it's very important for you to face what you need to face, because there is no time due to the chaos. The chaos can either be beautiful or it can be miserable. You choose, okay? And if you choose to make the chaos beautiful, it is because you are handling the business that you need to handle in every moment. Okay? When things come at you, you're not afraid to go through it. You're not avoiding it. You're not trying to go around it. You go through it. When it shows up, you face it and you go through it and you come out on the other side. But if you're choosing to avoid and go around, you're going to keep creating misery. And sometimes that's just what has to happen for you to begin the cycle of breaking cycles. Sometimes you got to be in the cycles longer. You know, that's totally fine. We're all where we need to be in the now. Okay. And every last one of us is important. And what they're showing me right now is kind of like in military training or confidence course training, team building. You know how like there's a wall and there's a group of people and they got to figure out how to get everybody over the wall. They don't have any tools, no rope, no steps. They just have their bodies. They're just that's all they have is each other. And that seems to be what's going on in February is everybody is playing their role, but nobody's going to get over that wall unless one person decides to go first. And that person that decides to go first is going to tell everybody what positions they need to be in, who needs to go after the next person, and they're going to tell them how the last person is going to get up over that wall. They're the ones that are going to have all of the strategy and all of the information that's needed. The leader, okay? And then everybody else has a very important role to play in order for every single person to get over that wall. But if you have one person that decides that they can't do it, it'll cause a stagnation. Things will slow down, it'll take longer, and anybody behind that person is going to be affected by it, just like the people in front of that person will be. Because no one is going to make progress as a group until the line starts moving again, until something starts to happen, because we are one. We're all a group. Okay? And we don't have time to be mad at the people that are simply responding in a fear-based manner. We don't have time to be upset with them. We have to encourage them to get over that wall. Okay? They're just freaking out. And we know the information. We know that there's a chance that people are going to freak out, and we have to continue to encourage them to get over that wall, because if we don't and we allow them to continue to create the reality that's affecting everyone and we stop encouraging them, then we're all going to stagnate. And what happens when water stagnates, when anything stagnates, it atrophies. There's no oxygen. There's no life. It just dies. Okay? And we don't want that. So yeah, in February, there's going to be times where people are not doing what you think that they should be doing, but there's a purpose for it. Everybody has their role. So those people who might hold everybody up because they're afraid, it's a natural thing to be afraid. And fear is simply a lack of information. And they did not know. They're not the leader. The leader knew, and maybe even some of the other people had a better idea than those people did. Okay? They know not what they do hits really deep these days. You gotta understand. They can't see what you see. They don't know what you know. Even if you tried to tell them, it wasn't time for them to have the realization. But when we get in the middle of this confidence course exercise and everybody's trying to get over the wall in February, when they have that fear trigger and they start freaking out, and everybody around them is trying to help them over that wall, and I don't mean physically, I don't mean by force, I mean by standing in your light and not changing your mind and not changing yourself just because they're freaking out. Okay? Stand in what you know, your knowing, because that's what they want you to do. They're going to want you to say, oh, well, maybe it's not this way. Maybe, we're not ushering in the age of Aquarius. Maybe we're not doing this and that, so that they can feel better, because they need familiar and they're going to reach for what's familiar. And that no longer exists. Okay? They are already in another reality. and they don't like it. These are normal responses to when change happens. And unfortunately, there's a lot of souls out there who need to have that moment where you stand in your sovereignty and you don't allow them to just sit there and rot. Everybody gets over the wall, no matter how long it takes. And it's our job to hold the light, to hold the space. It doesn't mean that you have to deal with stuff or be disrespected or anything like that. Okay? But just honor where everyone is. You know, when they're scared and they're freaking out, instead of getting pissed off saying you're holding the line up, you're doing this, you're doing that, pointing the finger at them. Instead of doing that, just be patient and hold the light. Redirect your energy into something else until they finish throwing their fit, and then they come to you and say, okay, I'm going to try again. Let's try again. Because we're all like children. Some of us are like the big brothers and big sisters, big cousins, and then others of us are like the toddlers, the pre-kindergartners, and then there's some of us that are straight up babies. Okay? And that's just where we are on in different, levels of awareness. And you can't force awareness. It has to be realized. It has to come from within the person. Because you could tell somebody something over and over again and they won't get it until they get it. Okay? And that's for their divine timing, not yours. Believe it or not, when we're in these energies that I'm speaking about right now, when we're inside of it, the whole group is getting some kind of growth and some kind of lesson. The people that had already gotten over the wall are getting a lesson in patience and compassion. The people that are behind the ones throwing a fit are getting a lesson in patience and compassion and awareness, because they still have choices to make. Okay, like everybody, the power is in the choice. And when I say that, I say it both ways. You either don't have power because you're not making a choice, or you have power because you are making a choice. It's all in how you see it. So if you want to figure out how to navigate the month of February, it's definitely going to have to be with ease of self, is what they're saying. You got to be easy with yourself because it'll automatically help you be easy with other people. You'll get more cooperation when you have compassion than when you express how tired you are because of all of these outside circumstances. Everything they're saying everything is a gift. You know, the hold up is for a reason, because everything is in divine perfection. Okay? Our idea of perfect looks quite different from nature's idea of perfect. Everything is always perfect in nature. No matter how it looks or expresses itself, it's just perfect. It's right on time, it's right in the right spot. Everything is just perfect, no matter how much of a mess it is. Because angels and extraterrestrials and higher beings, they see things in the now. And when you see things in the now, you see all the possible ways something can be. You see it past, present, future. You see it multi-dimensionally. So it's like you're seeing it sideways and you're seeing it like in a spiral. You see all of that one thing at once. And that's why it's beautiful. But not everybody has that level of awareness. Okay? So this is beyond staying calm while everybody else is freaking out. Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes. We warmed up. We had a little bit of a parable going on there. Now we want to talk about some concrete things that are not so concrete. All right. Yeah, there is going to be a rumble in the jungle, you guys. So if some of you have been thinking, "Man, there's a conflict coming, I just know it." Yes, that timeline is active for conflict. Now, where, when, who, and what, I ain't worried about all of that. Because that conflict is not part of my mission. That is not something I'm supposed to be paying attention to. But for some of y'all, that is part of your mission because you're going to be closer to it or it's going to affect you in some kind of way. So that's confirmation for some of you about this conflict that may be coming up for us. Now, this is a February energy check-in. However, y'all know energy doesn't stop, it just transforms. This can happen at any time. It's coming up in this energy update, you guys. As if we need conflict, right? Again, this the last thing that we need is fear and conflict. However, that doesn't mean that that's not going to happen. For every action that happens that is undesirable, it is very important that you consciously choose a reaction, or what I would say response, that will cultivate a what do you call it, a transmutation energy. So if there's conflicts, choosing to be calm would transmute the energy because you're not adding to it. But you don't feel like you have to drain your energy trying to stop it either. Just be. Your choices right now are very, very important. There is no right or wrong. Okay, if negative stuff is happening in your life in February, it's very important that you understand that it's for your highest good, and it's because you're being accelerated in February. So if some of you experience a series of unfortunate events, it's because you're being fast-tracked to peace, to balance, to stability. You were dealing with imbalances and you had been dealing with them for too long. And now, because the energy of the collective, of the planet, of the cosmos has sped up, everything that you may have been avoiding is coming like a freight train. And it's best that you just accept what's happening and respond accordingly. Okay? Because it's not something that's controlled. The only thing that you are able to manipulate or control is yourself. And through manipulating your energy and controlling yourself, then you're able to reflect that out into your reality. Everybody has their lessons, and February is kind of like, what would we call it? Graduate school, maybe? It's literally like you have like this final paper to write, or like when people get their doctorate, you know? So, yeah, you guys are going to see a lot of people suffering, unfortunately, and let's not look at them as victims. They are only suffering because that is the path that their soul chose. Just like at any other point in time, period. Okay? The soul is going down the road that it is destined to go. There's no saving anyone here. February is going to be really deep for some of you guys. There's going to be some really deep healing. There's going to be some miracle energy. This is a really good time. If it's never really been profound for you before, or if energy work hasn't been your thing, it's been just surface level, not really much going on with energy work. Let's say you got Reiki one day and it felt good, it was great, but it wasn't fireworks, right? It wasn't a big bang. It didn't create this huge miracle in your life. February, you want to try it again and see what happens. Because February, there's a lot of healing energy. I feel like a lot of you who've been wanting to release things and people and places and whatever no longer serves you, this is the time to get help with releasing those things. There's a huge emphasis on energy work, not so much talking about stuff, but actually connecting with the energies and feeling and releasing and allowing the flow. Okay? This takes a level of vulnerability that's actually harder than talking about your feelings. What else we got going on here? Okay, this is interesting because the way I heard it was toast or be toasted. So the way that I understand this message is you're either going to be celebrating or you're going to literally get burned, like drugged through the like a carpet burn or something, like because you're holding on to something that you got to let go of. And the moment you let go, you're in celebration. But if you don't let go, you're going to, get roughed up. Okay, so some practical advice for some of you guys is to follow your body. Get more in touch with your physical body, because everything's in flux and people don't know whether they should stay at their jobs or leave their jobs and all this and that. They're concerned about what's crumbling and everything's uncertain. So moment to moment, you don't really know what to do. And you've got to embrace that. You've got to embrace the unknown and use this energy. Sure, things are changing at a rapid pace and stuff is all over the place. It's a mess. But that's what it looks like when life is being created. Like if you think about the Big Bang, it's a mess. And then things fall into place. But those things can't fall into place if you don't have an idea of what you want to create, what you want. Ha, eat or be eaten. All right. So in the mess, while you're encountering the mess, it's very important that you visualize what you want to happen, because the energy is prime to create the life that you want. Yes, in the middle of all of this stuff falling apart, all of the debris is being put back together in a different way that suits you better. You got to know that though. So again, this is a choice. You get swept up by the hurricane, by the tornado, or do you decide to use the debris and create from it? Oh, they said that you need no one but source, for you are the source. Oh, yes. And that feels so good when it comes through, that right there. Because some of y'all still are stuck in, I need this, or I need that, or I need this person, or blah blah blah. And like I told you guys, this is why we be getting it popping in the Telegram group, because you got to be willing to lose your mind to gain your true self and start to work these miracles and create this life that we're now actively creating. You've got to be ready to take those kinds of steps, to trust on a level that you have never imagined that you could even possibly trust on. So if you got trust issues, you might want to work on that. You might want to take some baby steps and try to get out of your comfort zone, because they're about to get either really, really bad with trust issues, or you're going to work on it and you're going to show yourself that it's not so bad to trust. Again, you choose, because there are going to be some extremes and it's going to be volatile on some timelines, but it doesn't have to be that way on your timeline. You can move timelines. You can jump. You can be in a whole nother density. This is what they mean by the untouchables. Large out. Look, see, this is what happened when I channel. Now I understand pastors that be up in church yelling, talking for 3 hours, because I'm feeling this, okay? When they talk about the untouchables, if you don't know who the untouchables are, look it up, okay? Because that 144,000, okay, it's a number. It's not an exact number of specific people, but it's a number. And again, this is my perspective, not everybody else's. But again, you have to become that 144. You have to become what all of that means. And when you become that, you are untouchable. There are people who can become invisible, but the way that you got to understand it is, these people didn't become invisible like you see on TV where the person disappears. There are people who know how to become invisible, will walk right by you, and it's you that won't perceive them. It's not the fact that they disappeared. Y'all got to get it to get it. Okay? This is why, you know how people you haven't heard from in a long time, or you haven't heard about in a long time, and then somebody will bring them up and you be like, dang, I thought they died. That's true invisibility right there. To where you can, it's possible to make people think that you done passed away. Okay? That's how much you need to mind your own business and work on your own creation. Because I promise you, you will disappear to some people, because that's how far into your new wonderful reality you will be, and they won't see you because they can't see you. So if you've ever seen that term, oh, they can't see me on Instagram, that's what that means. They literally can't see you, because you have shined so bright and you've been creating so much that is completely different from anything they've ever known, that you disappeared. And everything involved with you disappeared. This is dimensional shifting. Okay? Like, that's the most practical way that I can put it. But it's true. Those are real life examples. People will seriously be like, nah, I swear that person died. This is where the Mandela effect comes in. That's where all them glitches come in, because you literally are living in multiple realities right now. Now, okay? It's not a theory. None of this is theory stuff. This is real for the collective. At first, it was just real for a handful of people. The kingdom of heaven is within you. That was just real for a handful of people, because they're the only ones that knew how to access it. And now this information is all over the internet. It's common knowledge, and people are tapping into it, and they're learning it, and they're using it, and bam. Now the collective knows how to access other dimensions. Okay? So again, if you're watching this channel for entertainment, I hope that you're okay. That's all I can say for that. Because again, that's why I created the Telegram group. There's a lot we talk about that I don't have time for on this channel. That's pretty much the energy update, because I just dropped my channel. So yeah, we're good now, because I feel like I just got back. I'm like, okay, what I missed? I'm like, hold up, where did I just go? What was I talking about? And whenever that happens, I know that I'm done. But I hope that y'all understood, understand it, whatever you want to call it. All of that, because I am a divine, multidimensional being. And I am a primary channel of higher consciousness. So when I don't flip cards for you and all that other stuff, don't take it personal. That's just not my primary mode of operation. I love you the same. I show up when I can for you guys on this channel, but again, my meat and potatoes right now is the Telegram group, because we're actively planning and manifesting and doing stuff in that group. And if you scroll through the community tab, you'll find the link to get to it. So yeah, this is your energy update. I felt like I should do one for you, and I'm glad I did. I'm gonna go back and listen to it so I can hear from myself what I said, because I have to do that. I'm not here when I'm channeling at all. So I have to go back and listen. But love to you all, patience to you all. We are one. Everybody has their role. Everybody has their time. Okay? Tend to your part of the garden, and everything will just happen how it should. Talk to you guys soon.